Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, and I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Operation No Face, No Case, a South Florida gang takedown targeting the Sama gang, which was named after the rapper Jayo, who was shot and killed in 2019. October 14th, 2021, Palm Beach County sheriffs would announce the gang takedown of 8 men and 1 juvenile who were all alleged to be members of the violent South Florida Sama gang. A year-long gang unit investigation was named Operation No Face, No Case, and all 9 alleged gang members have been hit with Florida's Rico Act, a first-degree felony punishable by up to 30 years in Florida State Prison. 3 of those accused are Palm Beach County rappers Lil Snipe, Baby Glock, and Bang Out Bamo. According to the gang unit investigation, Sama gang members predominantly reside in Lake Park, Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach, and Lake Worth. Originating around 2011, Sama gang has 8 members on file with an unknown amount of associates. The gang members have been tied to murders, shootings, robberies, burglaries, narcotic sales, and originally went by the name Haitian Boys, but the murder of a member would change that name. Back in January of 2019, 22-year-old Jonas Joseph, who is more commonly known as Palm Beach rapper Jayo, was found shot and unconscious in a vehicle by police. The driver had fled the scene, and Jayo was transported to a nearby hospital where he later died. At the time of his death, his biggest song, Intro, had over 1 million views and now has over 2.5 million. His death would become the birth of what is now known as Sama Gang, and investigators would learn this through social media and watching YouTube interviews given by gang members. According to the affidavit, 21-year-old Bajori Jean Lewis, aka Lil Snipe, has been connected to 4 separate incidents in which law enforcement believe he committed a pattern of racketeering activity in furtherance of the gang. Back in 2017, Snipe was in a car with 3 others when they were pulled over at 1 in the morning. Snipe and 1 other were already documented members of the Haitian Boys street gang, and the approaching officer could smell marijuana coming from the vehicle. A search would produce 3 grams of crack, approximately 3 grams of heroin inside of capsules, and 90 grams of marijuana along with 2 stolen firearms. All 3 teens were then handcuffed and transported to the Violent Crimes Division, where video and audio interviews were conducted. Snipe said he had nothing to do with any of the items in the vehicle, and when asked if his DNA would come back on the guns, he said no. When asked if he'd voluntarily take a DNA test to prove it, he said yes. The 2 others Snipe was arrested with denied ownership of the weapons and declined a voluntary DNA test. Snipe's DNA would later be found within the trigger guard of a Glock 26, leading to his arrest and conviction for being a delinquent in possession of a firearm. He'd be placed on probation and would violate within months for resisting an officer. In May of 2018, gang unit detectives were conducting a social media investigation on Snipe's Instagram, Snipe on the Roof. Snipe was on Instagram Live with a Haitian boy member named Jayo. The detective was able to record the live using another phone, and Snipe could be seen holding a black firearm, while Jayo pointed his own firearm at the screen throughout the video, even holding up the weapons magazine showing live ammo, stating, "We got hella clips over here." At one point, Snipe can be seen pointing what appears to be a shotgun at the camera, and with the video recorded, the detective sent a copy to an ATF firearms expert to determine if they're real. The expert stated the shotgun was not clear enough on video to determine its authenticity, but the Glock handgun was. While companies make Glock airsoft guns and replicas with the same markings as the real firearms, airsoft guns have an inner barrel within the barrel that wasn't seen on video. Not only that, but the Glock Snipe was holding had an aftermarket guide rod laser that's only produced for the actual firearm. Jayo could be seen holding an FN57 handgun chambered in 5.7 by 28mm bullets that resemble rifle rounds. This Instagram Live would lead to Snipe being charged with being a felon in constructive possession of a firearm. More recently in 2021, officers were responding to a crash when they heard gunfire. While en route to the area, the Riviera Beach shot spotter detected 15 shots fired in the 1100 block of West 23rd Street. As officers approached, they saw a black Ford with dark tints speed through a gas station and down another street. Now chasing the vehicle, the license plate came back as being stolen out of West Palm Beach as the vehicle fled at approximately 80 miles per hour. While going down another road, the Ford slowed to about 50 before the front seat passenger, later identified as Snipe, threw a black rifle and black gloves out of the window. A few moments later, the back passenger threw another rifle out of the window. Eventually, the SUV pulled over and 3 black men fled the vehicle. A K9 unit canvassing the area noticed a black male with a hoodie and his pants around his ankles, walking northbound. His pants and shoes were wet as if he'd walked through a canal, and he was located just west of where the suspects bailed out. He was placed in custody and identified as Lil Snipe. 2 victims were located at the shooting scene, one suffering a gunshot to the leg as the other's leg was grazed. Detectives later recovered a .556 Palmetto State Armory AR-15 rifle, a Smith & Wesson MP-15 223 rifle, a black rifle scope, and 2 black gloves. Snipe was arrested and charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, resisting an officer, and armed trespassing. This case remains open, and all those previous arrests are believed to be in furtherance of the gang, as gang members have been found to commit acts such as resisting arrest to gain notoriety within the community and gang, while carrying firearms as a way to display dominance over victims and protect themselves from rivals. These crimes are considered violations of Florida's Rico Act. 23-year-old Brenton Carter, aka Bang Out Bamo, was connected to 3 separate incidents starting back in 2015 when Palm Beach tactical agents were conducting surveillance on Bam's house. They rushed him after observing him sitting in a vehicle parked in the driveway. They'd find 29.5 grams of marijuana where Bam was sitting in the car, and they searched a bedroom within the house where they found a .40 caliber Kel-Tec rifle that had been stolen out of Jupiter, Florida, and was laying by the bed. On the floor in front of the bedroom closet, they'd find a .22 caliber Ruger rifle with a sawed-off stock. And within the dresser, officers found 61 more grams of marijuana and 7 grams of cocaine. Bam was arrested for possession of a firearm by a delinquent, possession of marijuana over 20 grams, and possession of cocaine, to which he was found guilty of all 3. Bam was placed on probation, and in 2016, law enforcement would search his house after a shooting investigation. Bam, his mother, brother, and another male and female were all living in the home. A .762 SKS rifle with a full magazine was found in the mother's bedroom along with a 9mm high-point handgun. In the living room under a futon was a .22 caliber P22 handgun with a round in the chamber and a box of bullets. Also inside of the home was marijuana, 2 digital scales, and a grinder. Bam was arrested for violating his probation, and when he was interviewed, he said he knew about the P22 handgun found in the living room, saying it wasn't his. But at that point, the investigator hadn't even said the model of the handgun found. When asked if his DNA would be on it, he said his brother's friend had took it out one time to play with and threw it to him. He caught the gun, so his DNA would be on it. Bam was then arrested for constructive possession of a firearm and found guilty that same year. In 2017, he'd be convicted for possession of heroin and possession of marijuana with intent to sell, and these incidents would violate Florida's Rico Act, as selling drugs enhances a member's status within the criminal enterprise. The third rapper, Baby Glock, wasn't publicly listed because he's a juvenile, and the remaining 6 men arrested all have previous convictions for drug charges revolving around selling cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. From 2011 to 2021, law enforcement have evidence connecting the Sama gang to shootings, drug deals, weapons, even social media posts, messages, and music videos of the group brandishing firearms. In 2017, a confidential informant was able to identify members of the gang as well as provide information on the crimes they committed, like shootings, robberies, and drug sales. Members would also be identified by interviews on YouTube, such as an interview by Bang Out Bamo in 2018 when he stated he moved to Lake Park, Florida and befriended Jayo, Lil Snipe, and a third man named Gutter. While the amount of evidence against them is immense, this isn't a federal Rico case, meaning the 95% conviction rate the feds uphold doesn't apply here. But without a lawyer and the funds to fight this case, this may be the takedown that buries the Sama gang. Now, like I said in the video, this is not a federal Rico case as far as I know. The only two states that have a Rico charge is Florida and Georgia, and it's usually just tying up rappers and gangs that rappers are tied into. I believe YFN Lucci is fighting a Georgia Rico case right now. But aside from the amount of evidence that they've gotten from literally search warrants and just finding them with shit on them, a bunch of them have been identified solely through social media. Meaning when you're giving these interviews like, oh yeah, I'm a rapper, I'm from over here, this is him, da da da, we're homeboys, we've known each other this long. The police are documenting all this shit. They're creating a pyramid of gang members, trying to figure out the hierarchy, trying to figure out who's who, which one's a soldier, which one's telling them what to do. And then they're tying everything together. And what's crazy about this is, aside from the shootings, homie might have just been selling drugs, right? Might have been selling some weed on the side, a couple grams of cocaine if he got a baser that's gonna come through and get it. But it's not like he's pushing kilos and has the whole gang distributing this shit. You feel me? So it's one man selling drugs, gang affiliated, but the state of Florida is able to make it seem that he's selling drugs in furtherance of the entire fucking gang, when in all actuality, he's probably only selling drugs so he can buy Gucci belts and fucking afford a cameraman for a music video. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are hustling just to hustle because they're not gonna get real fucking jobs. But the police are making it seem like it's a whole gang movement in which they're all trafficking, moving around, trying to assassinate shit. To be honest with you, they make this shit sound so much worse than it actually is. And if these guys were individually charged with what they've been hit with, they'd be perfectly fine, because they've all been convicted on what the fuck they've been hit with. You see what I'm saying? They're all getting charged with racketeering based off of shit they were already convicted for. That's like me getting charged with racketeering for the old crime that I have from back in 2012 because they want to say that crime was in furtherance of gang activity, which violates the Rico law. To me, it's bullshit. I don't know if these guys have the funds to really put up 50 or 100 grand for a lawyer, being that they aren't really that big of rappers. The biggest rapper that was really pushing out of their camp was Jayo, who was tragically shot and killed. And what's fucked up about his murder is he was the passenger in the vehicle and the driver was gone. If the driver was his homeboy, because he was found unconscious but still alive and later died, there could have been a chance that if that driver drove him to a hospital, he'd still be here today. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. Stay the fuck off interviews if you gangbanging. Stay the fuck out of videos showing guns if you're not supposed to possess guns. Be smarter when you move. There's a million ways to be successful. Don't choose the one that's gonna land you in prison or a grave. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.